day one, our founder, John Beaumont, he didn't want to just accept the easy button answer. We always say kind of question everything. And that question everything from the foundation of the company has been kind of passed on to each group. We found ourselves in a position that a lot of manufacturing companies were. It was during the COVID time period where not all production slowed down, but specifically medical products really were taking off. The problem was volumes were going up. You were shorthanded with people, but then also the volumes that went up required us to run overnight. We were only 2 shifts, man shifts right now, so we wanted to run 3rd shift as well, and even into the weekends. And then we had huge concerns about you're running a clean room environment over the weekend, unattended. What happens if you have a problem at the machine and nobody's here? So the ask to our engineering group was, how are we going to monitor this? So is there options where you could hit an easy button and say, this is the cost to get a system come in and set it up on your equipment? Yeah, there is. And we looked at those different avenues, and it was going to be a very large investment from the company to make it happen. So we started looking at other options. The first option that came up was as simple as can be, putting webcams on the machines, and the employees could all log in and view the webcams. That was great. We could see the machines, we could see, are they running? But now I had employees trying to go home and enjoy a weekend, and they're pulling up their phones all the time to see, is a machine running? So a lot of stress was put on people, and we were starting to see it just wear on our employees. And the next step in the solution was actually brought about by our maintenance engineer, who came to us, and I believe at his own house he had been using a home security app through his phone, or bought a product that came with the app, and he looked at it and he said, I think I can use this to monitor the equipment. And so he started working with our engineers and coming up with, yeah, it was something that we could do. And when the press would send a signal, he could hijack that signal, and it would show up on this app like a light just went off, or a light turned on, or whatever. And when that happened, now we had this free app that came with purchasing these different sensors and monitors, and we put them on the machine, and everybody that had this app on their phone could be at home. They would just get an alert that said something happened. And this now gave them the ability to say, there's a problem, someone needs to go in and take care of it. The next problem with that became, yes, they're getting alerted. Now someone, say you're home, it's a Saturday evening, it's 9:30 at night, you get an alarm. You're now faced with this decision that you want to get the press up and running as soon as you can, but if you come in at 9:30 at night, you have travel time into work, you have to clear the alarm, pull out the parts that were good, or that you want to quarantine that were under the machine. You have to reset the alarm, reset the heats, wait for the machine to come back up, and you end up being at the facility for a long time when you just wanted to go to bed. Which led us to the third phase. And again, this was through our maintenance department coming to us and saying, I can still use this system where I can build this pneumatic arm that mounts on the machines, and by turning on and off different lights in your room or in your house, it would actually actuate a finger that reached out, reset the alarm, and then another one that would reach out and turn on the heats on your machine. And with that potential, now a person could see the alarm, clear the alarm, reset the heats, wait an hour, come into work, pull the parts out, hit go, they're back up and running right away. And all of that combined gave them, now finally we had reached that solution of, we know what's running, we know that we're gonna have enough parts to meet the customer's demands. I don't have people ruining their home lives in order to make sure that can happen, and doing it at a fraction of the cost of the easy button systems to install. As we learned more and more about what we could do, I really saw my group go from a reactive approach of, here's a problem, just fix it, to a proactive of, we started digging in more. Oh, here's other sensors that are available. We now have moisture sensors under every underneath every single machine, that as soon as if you lick your finger and touch them, an alarm goes off, an audible alarm in the building, and also an alarm on everybody's phones. They know exactly if there's a water leak. They can then look at the camera and say, is there just a hose dripping, or is there a geyser at a machine, and they are able to react accordingly. Our development group that does validation work, they set a plan. This is when I need to get validation done in order to meet a customer's demand. In those same pieces of equipment, production is saying, customer is telling me they need this many parts, and this solution gave them that confidence that my plan is going to work. I set dates, we work to them. If anything happens, I know instantly. And just not only do they feel better about getting their work done, but it's just that, you know, I set out a goal, it's accomplished.
As process engineering manager, it allows me to prioritize what my people are going to be doing the next day. If a mold was to go down, I'm able to send my guy, as soon as he gets here that next morning, hey, this mold went down, and that's our first priority. We're going in there and we're getting that back up and running and found out what happened. Or I can prioritize him to move on to the next validation or mold that we're going to be working on later that week.
So being in a production manager role, we're able to get more parts out the door and satisfy our customers. Initially, when personnel were coming in over the weekends, they'd have to come in, kick the heats on, and then wait around for an hour before they could restart the machine. So it was a huge morale booster that they could just show up, the machine was heated up, ready to go, they could restart it and move on into their weekend.
But obviously, as a business, we have to look at it from monetarily as well. And that showed up in two ways. One, we're able to meet our customers' demands. But secondly, the cost of just implementing this system. We were able to do this at a cost of around $250 per machine. And when you look at the total number of machines that we have as a facility, this was less than $10,000 to implement this entire system. That completely solved the problem for us, where we looked at comparable systems, multiple systems that we could implement. The cost to do the same 24 machines would have been around $60,000 to $70,000 to implement, and those systems also would then require licensing or subscription fees to get the alerts and things like that, where we have no subscription fees with the solution that we provided. We always have to ask the question, why are we doing what we do? Is it the right thing? Not, am I just doing this because this is what I've always done, and that is what Beaumont as a company tries to do. We've expanded into these 4 different companies that are always trying to say, hey, we think we can provide something to the injection molding industry and do it in a way that can help everybody improve, including ourselves. And so we are always trying to improve. Our goal is to improve the injection molding industry, and that is, I think, how we approach this problem.